Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to see an amazing superhero film filled with action, mystery, and miracles. So without wasting any time, let's get into the story. The movie opens with an amazing view of a famous temple in South India, dedicated to Lord Kandhasamy, an avatar of Lord Murugan, the powerful god of war and the divine son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. Inside the temple, a distressed woman arrives with her two daughters. They fall before the deity, crying helplessly. The temple priest notices their pain and gently asks what happened. Through tears, she explains that her husband met with a terrible accident and is hospitalized. They urgently need 60,000 rupees for his operation. The priest advises them to write their prayers and worries on a small piece of paper and tie it to the sacred tree within the temple grounds. Have faith, he says. God will help you. With hope in their hearts, the daughters write their request and tie the note to the tree. The very next morning, something unbelievable happens. The woman finds a bundle of money outside her house. Shocked and confused, but honest, she immediately takes it to the police station, saying someone must have lost it. But here's the twist. The police officer who receives the money is corrupt. That night, he secretly takes the money home, celebrating his good fortune. After drinking heavily, he falls asleep. Suddenly, a rooster's feather drifts down onto his forehead. He wakes up, and what he sees terrifies him. A mysterious figure, disguised like a divine rooster, circles around him. The officer rubs his eyes. Was it just the alcohol? But before he can react, the figure appears behind him and brutally confronts him for stealing money meant for a poor woman. The mysterious man warns him to return the money and leaves a divine mark of Lord Kandhasamy's weapon on his face. The next morning, the officer thinks it was all a nightmare until he sees feathers scattered around. Then he looks in the mirror and freezes. The divine mark is still there. Terrified, he immediately returns the money through another officer, who delivers it back to the poor woman. And the police says, "It's a miracle, an act of God," and leaves. The woman lifts her hands together and prays to God through tears. But who is behind all this? Now we are introduced to our hero, a sharp, intelligent, and fearless CBI officer, Kandhasamy. He's precise, calm, strategic. His superior assigns him a massive case. Arrest a powerful businessman named Parandaman, who owes thousands of crores to the government and has cleverly avoided repayment. Kandhasamy selects his own team and conducts a raid on Parandaman's mansion. They search everywhere, but find nothing. Parandaman smirks confidently. Then Kandhasamy notices something strange. He walks toward the pet dog's resting area. Parandaman panics and shouts at him to stop. Ignoring him, Kandhasamy grabs a hammer and smashes the floor beneath the dog's spot. Hidden underground are boxes filled with illegal cash and documents proving massive fraud. Just then, Kandhasamy receives a call from a powerful politician. Furious at the pressure, he smashes the phone and orders everyone to switch off their devices. But suddenly, a phone rings upstairs. It's Parandaman's daughter. She innocently asks to speak with her father and mentions her upcoming dance performance. He replies that your father is on CBI raid, but she asks him to watch it if he's free. Kandhasamy listens quietly. He then steps out and announces, "It's the Home Minister. Put everything back. We're leaving." Parandaman bursts into laughter. But then Kandhasamy turns, smiles slightly, and says, "I just wanted to see your last smile." He orders the team to seize all the evidence and arrest him. In a desperate attempt to escape, Parandaman suddenly pretends to suffer paralysis. His assistant says officers to leave with their evidence. But once safe, he miraculously recovers. It was all an act. Later, we see another side of Kandhasamy. He relaxes by boating alone, calm, thoughtful. He then remembers the Parandaman's daughter's dance show and watches it on his computer. Meanwhile, the miracles at the temple continue. The priest explains to his wife how many prayers tied to the sacred tree have been fulfilled. A student's fees were mysteriously paid. A woman received gold jewelry. People from all over the country begin arriving, tying their wishes to the tree. The temple becomes nationally famous. But not everyone believes it's divine. An intelligence officer named Prabhu suspects that someone is orchestrating these miracles. He believes this is no act of God, but the work of a mastermind. Determined to uncover the truth, he assigns a special officer to assist him. They visit the temple and see a joyful woman showing off a gold chain, claiming it was gifted by God after her prayer. When the officers question her, the crowd becomes defensive, insisting it's a miracle. Calmly, Prabhu takes a photograph of the chain and leaves. Later, he discovers that the gold was purchased from a specific jewelry shop. Now the question is, Who is really behind these miracles? Is it divine intervention, or is someone playing God? After the raid, the businessman's daughter, Lakshmi, arrives in India. She sees her father, once powerful and untouchable, now broken and humiliated. Through tears and anger, she learns one name behind it all, Kandhasamy, the fearless CBI officer. Fury burns in her eyes. Without wasting a second, Lakshmi marches straight to the CBI office. She doesn't request permission. She doesn't hesitate. She walks directly into Kandhasamy's cabin. The room falls silent. They begin talking. Tension fills the air. Lakshmi tries to provoke him, but Kandhasamy remains calm, composed, unreadable. And then, in a shocking move, Lakshmi suddenly tears her own dress and screams, "Someone help me!" Her voice echoes through the office. Within seconds, she runs out crying, accusing Kandhasamy of attempting to assault her. "I want him arrested!" she shouts dramatically. Officers rush toward the scene. The entire office is in chaos, but Kandhasamy watches her calmly. No fear, no panic, not even anger, just silence. As Lakshmi continues her act, one officer steps forward and says firmly, "Everything that happened inside was recorded on CCTV. We saw your entire drama." The atmosphere changes instantly. Lakshmi's face stiffens. The officers move forward to arrest her. But just as they reach her, Kandhasamy raises his hand. "Stop!" Everyone freezes. He walks forward slowly, looks at Lakshmi with controlled authority, and says coldly, "Leave," not shouting, not angry, just pure dominance. Lakshmi walks away, humiliated, exposed, defeated. But in her eyes, the fire of revenge still burns. The intelligence officer holds a press conference. "This is not the work of God," he announces firmly. "Someone is behind these so-called miracles. Maybe a crazy billionaire, maybe a mastermind thief. But whoever it is, we will catch them." The news spreads everywhere. Lakshmi watches. Then she hears something that shocks her. The temple is called Kandhasamy Temple. And the officer who destroyed her father's empire? Kandhasamy, the same name. A connection begins forming in her mind. Without wasting time, she hires the city's deadliest assassin. Her order is simple: kill him. One evening, Kandhasamy is alone on his small boat, sailing peacefully. But suddenly, his instincts trigger. Someone is following him. He grips the tiller and changes direction. His eyes scan the water. Then he senses something worse. A bomb, planted on his boat. Within seconds, he pushed the boat away on that canal. Boom! The boat explodes into flames. From a distance, the assassins smile. Mission complete, or so they think. Moments later, a shadow rises behind him. Kandhasamy, alive. Before the killers can react, he appears in front of them. He closes his eyes and begins. Using pure combat instinct, he takes them down one by one without even looking. Every move precise, every strike controlled. For him, it's just training. Later, he reaches his secret hideout. And here, the truth is revealed. The miracles at the temple? Not divine intervention. Kandhasamy and his secret team are behind it all. The walls are covered with notes collected from the sacred tree. Every prayer, every request. Each team member has a unique skill. They secretly fulfill the needs of the poor. They leave no trace. To the public, it looks like God answered their prayers. But in reality, is Kandhasamy. At night, they create terrifying illusions for corrupt politicians, appearing like divine forces, marking their faces, extracting secrets about hidden black money. The next morning, armed with that information, Kandhasamy raids their houses. He smashes compound walls, seizes black money, files false reports, and redistributes the stolen wealth to the poor. One teammate hesitates. "What we're doing is illegal. We could get caught." Kandhasamy replies calmly, "We're not stealing from the innocent. We're taking back what was stolen from the people." The team stands united. Meanwhile, Lakshmi understands something. He cannot be defeated by force, so she changes her strategy. If she can't kill him, she will break him. Emotionally, she meets him again and apologizes. But Kandhasamy senses the lie instantly and walks away. She follows him to the temple. There, he notices the intelligence officer watching the sacred tree. Sensing Lakshmi behind him, Kandhasamy writes something on a slip of paper and ties it to the tree. He leaves. Lakshmi secretly takes the note and reads it. "I fell in love with Lakshmi the moment I saw her." Her face lights up. The trap is working. She tells her friend about her fake love plan. But what she doesn't know is, Kandhasamy already understands her game. If she wants to deceive him with love, he will deceive her better. Now, it's no longer just a battle of revenge. It's a battle of minds. The next morning, Lakshmi arrives at the CBI office, dressed elegantly, confidently, irresistibly. This is no apology visit. This is strategy. She walks into Kandhasamy's cabin and smiles. "What about the note you tied on the sacred tree?" she asks softly. Kandhasamy looks at her, confused. "What note?" She smirks and hands him the paper. He unfolds it. Blank. The words have vanished, because he wrote it with disappearing ink. Lakshmi is stunned. For a moment, she doesn't understand. Then suddenly, she leans forward and kisses him. "I love you," she says, but Kandhasamy's eyes reveal nothing, because he is playing the game too. Meanwhile, in a slum filled with garbage and unbearable conditions, poor people write a heartbreaking note. They pray for a clean place to live. They beg God to free them from the filth surrounding their homes. Kandhasamy reads it. This time, he knows he cannot directly intervene, so he chooses a different weapon: manipulation. The story introduces Raj, a wealthy businessman. In public, he appears generous and respectable, but secretly, he has stolen massive amounts of government funds and hidden them in foreign accounts. One night, while Raj is partying, the lights suddenly flicker. A shadow appears, a giant rooster figure, Kandhasamy. Before Raj can react, the symbol is carved onto his face. When he wakes up, he finds a note on him, the slum's request, and an instruction: adopt the slum. Outside, his guards lie tied up. Terrified, Raj rushes to the intelligence officer. They sketch the mysterious rooster figure. By seeing that sketch itself, Raj gets fear, and they gives the copy of sketch to all the reporters. Later, during a live press conference where Raj speaks about the rooster monster, his assistant whispers shocking news. "Sir, an income tax raid is about to begin." Raj freezes, cornered, and right there, in front of the media, he announces, "I have decided to adopt a slum area and develop it," exactly as Kandhasamy planned. Soon, the garbage is cleared. The slum is transformed. The people fold their hands in gratitude to God. But the intelligence officer isn't convinced. "This ends now," he says. "They set a trap. Real poor families are chosen. Hidden cameras are placed everywhere, even on the sacred tree. Police surround the temple from every direction." After the rituals, the priest secretly approaches Kandhasamy. "The police are watching everywhere. How can I get the notes to you?" Kandhasamy smiles calmly and says, "Put them in the sacred pond." The priest removes every note from the tree and drops them into the pond, under the watchful eyes of the police. The assistant informs the intelligence officer. "Priest throws that notes in the pond in front of my eyes, sir. Officers were in that homes of the poor families." Silence. Suddenly, a metal can rolls from the roof and drops inside one of the houses. Inside it, the exact money they asked for, and a letter. "Don't play with God, Kandhasamy." The officers look around, but he is nowhere, because once again, he is always one step ahead. By knowing this intelligence officer was confused. On the other side, Lakshmi is burning with frustration. Her plans have failed. Her traps have collapsed. But her revenge is not over. She makes a phone call directly to the intelligence office. The assistant answers. In a cold voice, Lakshmi reveals the truth. The CBI officer Kandhasamy, he's the one doing all this. He's using the name of God. She gives him a location. Officer rushes to that location. There she explains something crucial. Every time he takes a boat through this canal, he disappears into the forest and returns only the next day. This is the breakthrough. The intelligence officer immediately heads to the canal, takes a small boat, and sails through the narrow water path, deep into the forest, searching, watching. Meanwhile, Kandhasamy reaches his secret hideout. But something feels different, a disturbance. He enters the password. The door opens, and standing there, the intelligence officer's assistant. Twist, he is not a traitor. He is Kandhasamy's secret team member. He was the one who switched the priest's basket of notes at the temple. The intelligence officer has been chasing his own shadow. Frustrated, the officer interrogates the priest again. How did the notes from the pond reach those houses? At that moment, he notices an old farmer holding a long petition letter. "Why are you here?" the officer asks. The old man replies with tears in his eyes. "My farmland is surrounded by corporate companies. They are threatening me to sell. I prayed to God to save my land." The officer takes the letter. "God has heard you," he says calmly. He hands the letter to his assistant and orders surveillance on the old man's house. But the assistant quietly passes the letter to Kandhasamy. That night, under the moonlight, Kandhasamy disguises himself as an aged priest and walks into the farmer's field. The old man is shocked. "God has sent you," he whispers. In a calm, divine tone, Kandhasamy says, "Sell the land tomorrow at 10 a.m. and disappears into the darkness. The next morning, the politician arrives with the registrar officer. They offer a cheap amount, far below the land's true value. The old man hesitates, but remembers the priest's words. He is about to sign. Suddenly, 2 cars arrives to that place. CBI. Kandhasamy steps out. Panic spreads. The politician tries to escape. Kandhasamy seizes the illegal cash meant for corruption. He gives a fair portion of it to the old man. Justice delivered. The corrupt flee. The farmer feels happy, folding his hands toward the sky. To him, it is God's miracle. But in the shadows, it is Kandhasamy. That night, that furious politician arrives at an old man's house with his men. Accusing the old man of betrayal, they tie his entire family to a tree. Petrol is poured over them. The politician is ready to burn them alive. But he doesn't know one thing. Kandhasamy had already predicted this attack. Disguised like a divine rooster, he appears in the darkness. With the help of his team, he strikes from above, moving across the farmland. One by one, the politician's men are taken down. Within minutes, everyone falls. As always, Kandhasamy leaves his divine mark, a symbol of fear and justice on his face. Meanwhile, businessman Parantaman discovers that one of his assistants is secretly a member of Kandhasamy's team. He captures him and interrogates him for information. Soon after, intelligence officers arrive at the CBI office. They claim to have discovered that Officer Kandhasamy is behind all the so-called temple miracles happening across the region. Kandhasamy is arrested and taken to a secret interrogation facility. Inside a room, they handcuff him in a chair, started to inquire him, and record everything on video as evidence. But Kandhasamy keeps saying only one thing: "I don't know anything." They torture him brutally, dipping him in ice-cold water and passing high-voltage electric currents through his body. Still, he refuses to confess. Then they bring in Lakshmi, his lover. They locked her to chair in the room and send a criminal toward her, threatening to assault her if Kandhasamy doesn't speak. When the criminal begins tearing her dress, Kandhasamy breaks down. Unable to bear it, he agrees to tell them the truth. Lakshmi is released. Kandhasamy begins revealing his past. He explains that he and his 11 friends once came to the city with a dream to become IPS officers. To support themselves while preparing for the government exams, they worked part-time as food delivery workers. One day, during a delivery at a rich man's party, one of his friends accidentally spills sauce on a guest. The rich man slaps his friend. In anger, Kandhasamy slaps him back and walks away. But that one moment changes everything. The rich man sends rowdies to attack them. The gang captures the friends and a violent fight breaks out. During the fight, one of Kandhasamy's friends loses his hand. It is brutally severed. That incident breaks Kandhasamy emotionally. He realizes that the powerful escape justice simply because they are rich while the poor suffer. So he and his friends make a decision. If the system won't deliver justice, they will. They begin stealing illegal black money from corrupt rich businessmen and politicians, and secretly distributing it to poor people in need. That is how the temple miracles were created. After finishing the recorded confession, the officers take Kandhasamy out of the room. And that's when the real shock comes. Parantaman is standing there. Lakshmi walks past Kandhasamy, smiling. It is revealed that the intelligence officers were fake, all arranged by Parantaman. Lakshmi had pretended to love Kandhasamy only to emotionally manipulate him into confessing. Parantaman threatens him. If he hands over the video evidence to real authorities, Kandhasamy and his entire team will be arrested. But he offers a deal. From now on, half of whatever illegal money Kandhasamy steals must go to him. Thinking about the poor people who depend on him, Kandhasamy reluctantly accepts the deal. Lakshmi, happy that her revenge was complete, Lakshmi gestured at him, insulting him just as he had done before, and told him to leave. That night, Lakshmi proudly tells her friend how she trapped Kandhasamy using love. She even explains how the staged assault forced him to confess. Her friend, disgusted, slaps her and says that Kandhasamy is far better than her and her father, who used their own daughter for greed. Those words hit Lakshmi deeply. For the first time, she feels guilt. The next day, another CBI officer visits Parantaman. He says the money Kandhasamy seizes never fully reaches the department. There are mismatches in the amount. He has come to inquire. Surprisingly, Parantaman does not expose Kandhasamy. Instead, he tells the officer that Kandhasamy is a good man. Later, Kandhasamy approaches Parantaman with a new proposal. He wants to end their partnership with one final operation. He has information about a businessman who has stored a massive amount of illegal money in a Swiss bank. To steal it, he must secretly travel to Mexico, and he needs Parantaman's full bank details to transfer the funds. Parantaman hesitates. At that moment, Lakshmi steps forward and says she will go with Kandhasamy. They leave for the airport. Kandhasamy boards the flight using a fake passport. Interestingly, the same CBI officer who had earlier inquired about him is also on the flight, silently observing. During the journey, Lakshmi confesses that her love was once fake, but now it is real. She says she truly regrets betraying him. Kandhasamy senses her true love but remains silent. After landing, just as they are about to leave the flight, Kandhasamy suddenly pulls her close, hugs her, and finally accepts her love. In Mexico, Kandhasamy meets a powerful illegal money launderer who pretends to be a businessman. This man has deep knowledge about Indian politicians and businessmen who hide black money in Swiss banks. The CBI officer continues to follow them secretly. Kandhasamy and the launderer board a helicopter to discuss converting Indian black money into foreign currency. During the flight, the launderer reveals a shocking truth. India is not truly a poor country. 10% of India's richest people have stored enormous wealth in Swiss banks. With that hidden money, India could become one of the richest nations in the world. Every citizen could be lifted above the poverty line. But that same 10% controls politics, markets, and economic decisions. Even a small price increase in goods can earn them hundreds of crores within a single month. That is their strategy. As the helicopter flies across the sky, Kandhasamy realizes that his fight is not just against individuals, but against an entire system. And this time, the war is going global. That night, Kandhasamy's team seizes a drug criminal and forces him into a deal. The criminal must deliver a certain amount of money in Mexico. With no choice, he accepts. In Mexico, Kandhasamy collects the money. To make Lakshmi and Parandaman believe him, he deposits it into Parandaman's Swiss bank account. He asks Lakshmi to enter the password and transfer the money. After she leaves, Kandhasamy uses special software to capture the password. Meanwhile, Parandaman calls someone and says he has received the money. He orders Kandhasamy to be killed, reasoning that since he used a fake passport, no one would suspect him. Kandhasamy logs into the account but finds 3 yes or no security questions about Parandaman. He casually talks to Lakshmi about her father and figures out the answers to 2 questions without her knowing. He successfully enters them, but before he can ask her for the 3rd answer, Lakshmi leaves to get drinks. The countdown begins. Kandhasamy hesitates, then quickly enters the answer on the 6th second. He transfers all the money successfully. Parandaman calls the money launderer and tells him that Kandhasamy is a CBI officer. The launderer is furious and orders his men to kill him. At a bar, while Kandhasamy and Lakshmi are drinking, he senses danger. Before he can react, shots are fired. They rush to their car, and a high-speed chase begins after a long chase. Kandhasamy drives into the desert, but the criminals follow in a helicopter. At one point, they create a dust storm with the helicopter and capture him. They take Lakshmi away and drag Kandhasamy deep into the desert, tie his eyes, and aim guns at him. With no hope left, Kandhasamy prays to God. Suddenly, their car starts on its own and crashes into the group before they can reach him. Using his heightened senses, Kandhasamy leans back and escapes, just in time. It was that CBI officer who drove the car, but he was wounded by a bullet. The criminals attack again, but he fights with his eyes closed. Realizing that Kandhasamy senses movement through the sound of shoes, the criminals remove their shoes, making him temporarily vulnerable. One of the men attacks him, but with a single kick, Kandhasamy knocks him down and defeats the rest one by one and finishes them all. After that, another CBI officer approaches him. Kandhasamy is about to attack, but the officer reveals his identity. He is also part of Kandhasamy's team. They had planned the entire operation to take the money from Parandaman and catch the money launderer before he reached Mexico. The money launderer tries to escape, but they catch him by following him in a car. Afterward, Parandaman calls Lakshmi and learns that Kandhasamy is still alive. Shocked and furious, he betrays Kandhasamy, calling the CBI office to report that Kandhasamy went to Mexico on a fake passport for illegal money laundering and instructs them to arrest him. Parandaman waits eagerly at the airport. The police arrive, and Kandhasamy and Lakshmi exits. Lakshmi reunites with her father, but Parandaman sees Kandhasamy seemingly pass by unnoticed. Behind him, Kandhasamy's team brings the Mexican money launderer. Kandhasamy then reveals the twist at a press conference. They had discovered that wealthy men in their country had hidden illegal money in Swiss accounts. Kandhasamy had posed as a fake businessman to infiltrate and arrest them. He adds that they now have information on many rich men who illegally saved money in Swiss banks, with an estimated value of 30,000 crores. Raj watches the news on TV. Seeing this, Parandaman checks his account, only to find a balance of $1. Lakshmi, shocked, goes to meet Kandhasamy. Parandaman, who had been pretending to be paralyzed, now suffers a real paralysis attack. Kandhasamy sees Lakshmi's shock and dismisses her teasingly the same way she did before. Kandhasamy brings the criminal to his office. Meanwhile, Parandaman ties Lakshmi to a chair and his assistant interrogates about how Kandhasamy got the password. Even when they beat her, she knows nothing. At one point, Lakshmi shouts that she truly loves Kandhasamy and will marry him. Kandhasamy decides to split the money taken from Parandaman among the poor. Realizing that a single rich man's illegal money could help thousands, he investigates other wealthy individuals' illegal funds through the money launderer. He then meets the businessman Raj and threatens him. The launderer has evidence, but they can strike a deal. Kandhasamy demands Raj keep 2,000 crores for his family and hand over the rest. Raj hesitates, asking what Kandhasamy plans to do with the money. Kandhasamy shows him the struggles of the poor on TV, how they work hard for food, live in garbage-filled slums, and endure extreme poverty. He tells Raj he will distribute the money to those in need. Raj asks for time until morning, and Kandhasamy agrees. Meanwhile, masked men enter the CBI office, overpower the officers, and they search for the criminal. When the CBI officers arrive, they are shocked to find the money launderer dead. Kandhasamy's senior officer then gives him a new secret assignment. The next day, Lakshmi meets Kandhasamy and asks him to go for a long ride. Seeing true love in her eyes, Kandhasamy agrees to go with her. Both of them happily go for a long ride, but this time with true love. Meanwhile, in the intelligence office, officers are shown Kandhasamy's school photo with 11 students. They say that each one of them is now a top-level government officer. The common thing about them is that they have been acting from their childhood. They always stage dramas about destroying corruption and helping poor people. They also reveal that the intelligence officer's assistant, who had been with him from the beginning, was also one of their team members. On hearing this, the intelligence officer is shocked. Meanwhile, Lakshmi and Kandhasamy are beautifully spending their time together with coffee and love. After that, when he is about to take his bike, it suddenly blasts. It is businessman Raj who calls him and threatens him. Frustrated, Kandhasamy searches for evidence against businessman Raj, but they find nothing. Parandaman's assistant gives a videotape to a senior officer as evidence. But here is the twist. The senior officer switches the cassette and plays another one. Seeing this, the assistant is shocked. With no other choice, he leaves. The senior officer laughs and destroys the original cassette. It is now revealed that the senior officer is also one of them, working secretly to help poor people. Meanwhile, the intelligence officer questions his assistant by showing their school photo. Being caught, with no other choice, the assistant reveals Kandhasamy's secret hideout. When Kandhasamy heads to his hideout by boat, the police secretly watch him and report to the intelligence officer. They follow him. Kandhasamy already knows this could happen, so he rushes to his place, transfers all his money into Bitcoin stored on a disk, and destroys the place with a remote bomb. When the police enter, Kandhasamy uses a rope to climb to the roof and escapes. After that, the intelligence officer seizes the place and is amazed to see all their plans. Later, Kandhasamy directly goes with his hammer to confront criminal Raj. Meanwhile, businessman Raj is happily partying with a girl on a bus, thinking all his problems are solved. But Kandhasamy stops the bus with his hammer, enters it, breaks it into pieces, and smashes the roof open. The public and the press witness everything. Raj shouts that the officer has come to arrest him without evidence. But Kandhasamy, always smart, says, "Here's the evidence." He breaks the bus floor and exposes Raj's illegal money, gold, and documents of all his frauds in public. Kandhasamy then speaks to the public. He says that rich people like Raj have illegally saved about 65 lakh crores. With that money, all the poor people in India could become rich. Such greedy, money-minded crocodiles will never stop, so we must stop them. That is why he exposed Raj's frauds in front of everyone. Meanwhile, the intelligence officer arrives and arrests Kandhasamy. He says Kandhasamy was the one behind the good deeds done at the divine temple trees. Hearing this, the people celebrate him by carrying him on their shoulders. The intelligence officer takes him to court. There is no strong evidence against Kandhasamy. Moreover, The people themselves say that he was not the one who helped them, it was God. Seeing this, the judge understands one thing: illegal money was taken and given to poor people, but there is no evidence to prove it. So, he is released and transferred to another state. After a few days, Kandhasamy and Lakshmi get married and move to another state. One day, they both go to a temple to worship God. There, Kandhasamy sees a tree with notes written in different languages. He goes near the tree and reads one. It says, "We have to walk miles to get drinking water. God, please save us." Kandhasamy looks around. After making sure no one is watching him, he takes the note and keeps it in his pocket. It seems that Kandhasamy's hunt will continue for poor peoples. And that's the end of the story. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.